This is Bob with DITV. I'm here with John Belcher, who's actually part of TURK, and I'm going to let John explain a little bit about what TURK is. John?
Yes. Hi. TURK is a math, science, education organization, nonprofit. We have a number of very interesting projects, and the work involves curriculum development, professional development, and education research, primarily in K through 12 settings.
That's great. And you particularly have an area of focus, you were saying, with boys of color?
That's right. So I coordinate a STEM in Boys of Color initiative, and I've been involved in that work at TURK for the past 4+ years.
Hey, could you tell us maybe a little bit about what that work entails and how it's going?
So much of the work entails reframing how we think about STEM education with this population. So oftentimes there is a remedial approach taken, or there's a deficit-based approach. So focusing more of the challenges of young men of color in communities in urban areas and rural areas. And our approach kind of flips that around. It's assets-based. It affirms who the young men are and creates ways of allowing them to draw upon their cultural resources in making meaning of STEM teaching and learning. It frames what we feel are more compelling goals, so the STEM education isn't just about passing this or that test or satisfying this or that hurdle or accountability measure. It's framed in terms of equipping the young men to be empowered, productive citizens, and to produce knowledge, just not just to consume it.
That's great, that's great. And actually at Destination Imagination, we understand all of what you're saying because we're here to award participants for what they're accomplishing in the challenge rather than starting off at 100 and tacking off points. The more and more things we don't see criteria met. Now, this is your first time here at Global Finals. What would you say your experience has been so far? What are your impressions?
So the experience has been rewarding, and picking on that idea of affirming. So affirming, confirming the principles that I hold to and believe in. So valuing the creativity and innovation that young people have and are capable of, and making space for them to be responsible contributors to their own learning, and to be surrounded by so much support and encouragement. And that's what learning should feel like, and that's something that ideally we would like to see more of. One of my reasons for being here is that we're interested in developing collaborative relationships with the DI community, and to be a part of figuring out how to more effectively engage the participation of young people from communities of color.
That's great. And speaking of engagement, John, if you could give one piece of advice to maybe a DIer here or some of the kids in school that you mentor and talk to, what would be that piece of advice related to STEM and just kind of getting involved there?
Well, one piece of advice is that we are surrounded by science and engineering and mathematics and technology. It's a part of our day-to-day lives. It can be quite different from how we experience it in the classroom. And so that isn't a matter of what the real content of these disciplines are, the work of them are. It's a matter of how they're taught. So this opportunity to explore one's own creativity, imagination, and to innovate is at the heart of science and engineering and mathematics, all of the STEM disciplines. So my advice would be to stay encouraged in doing this kind of work, and to look for opportunities to make others aware of the connection to disciplines that they may not think involves those kinds of practices.
That's great. Well, we appreciate you coming down and joining us for Global Finals. And if you want more information, you can definitely check us out at globalfinals.org.